How are you, Brenda?
I am great. I'm really good. It's a really awesome day, actually.
Yes, we were just talking about how you are recording and how there's so much work that goes on behind the scenes for us online entrepreneurs. There's so much recording and editing and rewording and drafting because even though it's not like in the physical with the person, you're still showing up as you for so many people. So it's a lot of work.
Absolutely. But it's the best. Like, I love it because then I get to show up fully for me. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Amazing. So tell me a little bit about yourself because I'm also new to you and your work. My friend Taryn just sent me your link one day because we were having a talk about money and the universe. And she was like, well, there's this girl that I think you'd really connect with. And then I sent you a message and we've had a couple conversations, but I'm also new to your work as well. So just sharing about who you are and I guess how you also developed this passion for helping people with money.
Well, I call myself a financial therapist and a money coach. I have done the training for financial planning and stuff like that, but that's really only for education purposes. I don't really want to invest in people's money. But for the last 24 years, I retired actually this January, but for 24 years, I have been a registered massage therapist. So I've worked with lots of the energy realms with people and the physicality. And I've also been a coach and a facilitator from the stage for change and transformation. But probably about 10 years ago, I realized that I was coaching a lot of people that didn't have a really good relationship with their money. Like, it just felt like that missing piece. And everyone was, the work that I did in the world was pretty, you had to invest considerably to work with me. And people would invest in their personal development and cleaning up some of the stuff that's getting in the way of love, of happiness, of health, all of those things. But they would go in debt for it. I can make money easily, but I spend it just as fast, and like I'm one of those people that can manifest when it's needed for what I need, and then it's gone. So it just comes in, it comes out. It's like trusting in the universe in a way, which I felt like there was another missing piece. Like, I didn't know how to manage it. I didn't have a relationship with it, anything.
Yes.
So, there's a really funny story here. I ended up going to clown school.
Oh my gosh.
I've always wanted to go to clown school. Like, when I was a kid, like, when you fill those little boxes of what your career is going to be, the top three was priest, clown, and marine biologist.
I love priest and clown.
I know.
It's like, yeah, they go together.
Yeah, in a way, I think they do. So
yeah, it's like you're entertaining the people.
I know. And I hated school. And so I joked with my teacher. I said, no, I want to be a clown. So she bought and she researched all over the world of where clown schools were. And there was one in Vancouver. There was one in Russia, I think. And so she just said, well, if you want to go. So I always knew there was a clown school in Vancouver, Canada.
Yes.
So I ended up going to clown school, and it changed my life. And it's not those clown. It's like that deep inner presence, so that when you're on stage, that you're so authentic and present for people. And during one of the classes, we had these like big chunks of clay. You'd plop it on the ground, you'd be blindfolded, and you'd have to mold this mask. And I just kept getting this sentence over and over in my head. Like, it was almost like, this is weird. And it was, you're going to change the consciousness of money on the planet into love and connection.
Wow.
I was like, okay. So, I mean, I'm kind of one of those people that when I get something that clear, it's like I need to explore it. So
yes, same.
So for 3 years, I studied. I had 10 books a week out of the library. I took every course. I studied with every person that dealt with money and relationship, or money and the inner work, as well as kind of figuring out the practical stuff as well. So I think I basically did my own PhD without going to school.
I'm like, yeah, it sounds like you probably did more work than the financial advisors.
There is no school for what I'm teaching.
Yeah,
Really.
like it's just
No,
amazing.
like I don't know anyone that's doing this kind of work. So I feel like I'm leading it. So that's when I first got on the call, I was like telling you that I'm feeling a little wobbly because I'm launching my big program today. And part of it is because I don't have like a mentor, you know,
Yeah.
that I'm following. It's like I've created this, which is the clients that I've worked with have had literal inner transformations that are beyond anything I ever expected. And so I know it works. I know it's powerful work, but I'm kind of pioneering it in a way.
I feel like you and my partner would have like a good hug about that because he was like here in New Brunswick and like just where New Brunswick, Nova Scotia is like at the time, no one talked about cannabis. It was just like evil, all the things. And then he was just like pioneering for years, being like, this is where this works, traveling to the States, figuring out why it was working. Like, how can I connect with Veterans Affairs? How do I get this help? Blah, blah, blah. And like just all by himself. Like one day, one person would show up, you know, and or no one would show up. And eventually two people showed up, like just going by himself. And then finally, like a few years into it, he kind of had that same feeling of just like, you just want to cry. Like you did so much, you took on so much, you know, and now everyone's talking about cannabis here. Like that's
Yeah.
just normal now. Like, so being that pioneer for that, like helped bring so much. So there's so much change, but when you're tasked that from the universe, it's a lot.
Yeah. And I like hear this and when you say that about your partner and now I know how cannabis is, it's like, there's like this real inner knowing that I know, because I'll tell you a little bit about how my work works, but I
Yep.
know there is a place that really the needle has not been pushed yet. And I just imagine a time when it will be common knowledge for people, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. Because I was even thinking that today. I was like, I've had an opportunity come up again that I think I've been manifesting since like 2012. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's so long. And then I'm like, you know, thinking about money again, hence like me contacting you a while ago. And I'm like, here I gave 18 years of life going to school, you know, from primary to whatever. And I'm still walking around like I know nothing. I feel lost. What
Yeah.
if I don't know how, like, as an entrepreneur, like, you don't know, like, what do you need to start a business? Like, who do you talk to? Like, where do you go to do this? Like, you just feel so lost.
And you know, I think with money, what's the challenge is people don't want to spend money to learn about money. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Oh,
they,
that's a good one.
so they keep losing money trying to figure it out. And it's so counterintuitive. And so the uphill battle for me is actually in allowing people, in inviting people to know that when you step into this world of money and you invest money to learn about money, the
Yes.
outcomes are beyond what you could imagine. You know, so it's a different facet in your brain because you think, oh, I'm going to invest in to learn about Reiki, or I'm going to invest
Yeah.
to learn about this so I can make money, right? But no one's going to invest in something that's about money unless it's learning how to invest and make more money and stuff like that. But that's not the work that I do. This is not about making more money. This is about deepening your relationship with money, because I feel like money touches every single person all over this planet.
Yes, it does.
And it's run by a pretty toxic system of greed and corruption. So when we are in the role of leading our money, we can make a much more powerful change on the planet than just playing in the machine. Like, I got to make money so I can pay my rent, so I can go on vacation, so I can pay my taxes, so I can feel like I'm a valuable person. You know, your net worth and your self-worth are so linked. And there's so much unconsciousness around it that you got to go right down to the root. You got to go right down to the core of your belief systems and uncovering all of those, as well as financial literacy.
Yes.
Like,
Like all that you just said, it's like no one has ever said that. And that makes so much sense. Like, yeah, people don't invest money into learning about money, but that's really like what you need to do.
I know.
You're like still subconsciously chasing it by buying another program or buying something else. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
it's a rewiring. Like, it's like really changing how we approach money. I had one of my clients call me yesterday, and I was having a moment of like, okay, like doing, and recognizing, okay, what am I actually doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what am I doing, and why am I doing this, and like, what's the value of this? And she called me and she goes, hey, I don't know, I was just thinking about you and I just wanted to check in. And she's a friend as well. And I was just saying, well, you know, I'm kind of like, you know, it's hard to like get people enrolled into understanding that they invest, how to invest in themselves financially. And she's like, oh my God. Like, she worked with me for like 6 months, and she said, you know, I could never have explained this to anyone until after, but
Mm-hmm.
now that I have a relationship with money that is really grounded and positive, it's affected my relationships in my family, my work, everything. And I have so much peace and joy in my life because I have a really balanced relationship with money. And I was like, oh, do you want to do a testimonial?
Yeah.
you know, and it was just
Yeah, that's
beautiful.
amazing.
Yeah. So it just made me realize, yes, this is probably the most needed work on the planet right now.
I a bajillion% agree. Like personally, I grew up like in a small town, and then like I grew up on an island connected by a bridge to the small town.
Okay.
So I'm like, the way I grew up was just like very traditional. Like we didn't have internet. It was like 3 channels, and I'm 28, so it's not like that was this long ago. Like so there's still people like this living off this grid. And just very like traditional. And like my dad worked like sometimes 2 jobs. My mom would stay at home with us. She ran like an art program here and there at the school. I have amazing parents, but like if I asked my mom about money, she wouldn't know anything. And
Mm,
she would literally say out loud, like, "Well, I'm worried, like if your dad ever died, because I don't know how I'd get any of the money. I don't know where it is. I don't know what I do." And to this day, I can ask her, and she's just like so overwhelmed by a question that she can't even go there. And I
mm,
just feel like that's kind of how I grew up. Like the man knew what was going on, so the woman just kind of trusted that scenario and like didn't ask for too much, didn't ask for too little, just stay in your lane. And then also just being very like old school, like you got to work so hard to make every penny, and you only make what's in your wage, like you don't make anything outside of that. The stocks are scary, like don't invest in the unknown, like all these stories.
yeah.
And those are things that I have cleared some, but not all. And like those are things that like for me I want to work on, because other than that, like you just start looking at other examples of how people use money. But like I want to know like money itself, like as the consciousness, as the experience, as the person. Like one day I was channeling and I was like getting teary because like money felt so abused. Like the
Mm,
consciousness of money was sad because it was so abused by so many people. And really it's like I'm like a gift, like I'm energy too. Like, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, okay, I need to like find someone that can help me. So I definitely think you're my person. But there's just these things that like, yeah, people don't know about or get to talk about, that there's this whole other level of learning.
you talk about like a place where you may have lived in a community where people were really connected to each other. So
Yes.
they knew what was going on with each other and what people needed, right? And there's a
Yes.
there's an element of that that's missing in the bigger world, because we're all working, trying to make a living, doing all of this stuff, that we forget how to take care of our community and the planet. But it
Yes, that's
sounds like
totally true.
you started from a place of family and community where money wasn't the object, right? So everyone kind of comes at this from different places. So there's no right or wrong, but there is a place of investigating it. So financial literacy and having the strength to understand money as consciousness and to embody it is, it seems like that's your edge right now.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that is true. Yeah, I grew up where everyone was really connected. So that's probably why I'm so intense about like connection and service and like being with the people and like wanting to save the world. So when I did your quiz, like for anyone, I'll also link your quiz and your website in the show notes when I release this. But when I did the quiz, I was the fool.
Mm,
And I wasn't surprised.
yeah.
But it's also like just good to have someone like tell you like your what's the word that you use for those? Your, it's not like your profile, but something
Your
like that.
archetype, your money archetype.
Yes, archetype. Thank you. And that was mine, was the fool. So like money just comes and goes and you don't know where it's coming from, where it's going next, and like you don't really know all your stuff. It just is happening, and that is totally me. And like you said, like the universe, I can manifest it but then it's gone, but I'm like, oh, it'll come back for the next thing. Like,
Yeah, like the fool doesn't live in a lot of fear.
yes.
But we usually have three archetypes working together. But when you are the fool, it's more like you're impulsive. You don't really think of the consequences. You're a bit irresponsible. You don't track anything. And you're kind of like, you like those hits. Like you want to have those experiences of like,
Yes.
or going somewhere, and it's more about that than anything else.
Yes. And can you explain what the other archetypes were?
Well, there's 9 archetypes.
Okay.
The first one I think might, and maybe I'll reflect a little bit of where you might inhabit some of them too, because I think you did share with me a little bit of your story. So if you resonate with them, let me know.
For sure.
The first one is the innocent, and we're all innocent as kids. And it sounds like your mom's a bit of an innocent. So an
Yeah.
innocent doesn't really know what's going on. Like, they don't like to open the bills or look at it. It causes them some anxiety. They have this fear of not being taken care of, like your dad's going to die and what's going to happen. The innocent likes the prince that will take care of everything. And they don't have a lot of financial literacy. They don't like go and learn things. So there's a lot, like there's happy on the outside, and they look like everything's okay, but inside they're full of fear.
That sounds right.
Yeah. And then the second one is the martyr or the victim.
Oh.
The victim is like I don't like the word victim, so I've renamed it, but this is the energy. And for some reason, it's really weird. That's why I don't have the name. But the victim is kind of like this place where the world is against you. The world is you blame the economy, or you blame your spouse left you, or your job, you lost your job, or things like that all the external stuff is affecting your life, and you're not really taking responsibility of your contribution in it. So there's a lot of unresolved pain in the victim role with money. And so there's lots of forgiveness work that has to happen. But as I have a client that identifies as a victim, and she's probably one of the strongest people I know. So victims can suffer more than anyone. And so they're really good at and resilient in that regard, but it's a really tortured place to be. So that's the external blaming outside of them. And then the other one is the caregiver. So they're the ones that take care of everyone, and they want people to love them back for it. They're the really healthy caregivers, like the Mother Teresa, that her service to the world is just generosity and compassion and care. But as a caregiver, sometimes it's like we take care of everyone, but we don't take care of ourselves. And we can get really resentful. So money's always going out to take care of people, and you're always attracting people that need to be rescued into your life.
Yes.
And then there's the tyrant. The tyrant is that has that disease of there's never enough. There's never enough, and I have to hoard and keep and hold together. And like it's this anxiety of calculating everything all the time. And like they're the Excel sheet person.
Oh yeah.
Like when I have like oftentimes when I'm working with a couple, I'll have maybe an innocent and a tyrant together. And the tyrant needs to go volunteer. They need to give their time and recognize that they're worth it. And I just remember the victim is not the victim, it's the orphan.
Yeah. No. Oh, even that word's like, oh, the orphan.
I know, because I think when we have such a bad negative experience of what a victim is, but the orphan is like they've lost trust in the world and lost trust that they're going to get supported. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's like makes my heart cry.
I know. And especially with money, because it's the way that we feel the most supported a lot of times.
Yes.
Even my high net worth clients, like, money makes them feel secure, but even when they have more than enough, they still feel insecure, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that all the archetypes that there are?
No, there's the tyrant, which I talked about needing to hold. And then there's the fool, like you talked about, which is really impulsive. They don't like think ahead. They're like kind of the adrenaline junkies. They're gamblers.
Yeah.
Like they'll do those kind of things that feel good that way and not think of the consequences. And then there's the warrior. So the warrior is the one that will learn everything they need to learn about something. They'll be thrifty. They have their eye on the prize, and they'll work really hard to get there. And they're amazing, hardworking warriors. They're also like justice oriented in a way. Sometimes they'll take the underdog on and teach them and things like that. So we all want to strengthen our money warrior in a really powerful way.
Yes.
And then there's the wizard. So the wizard is the one that manifests easily, that trusts in the universe, that has like they really know when to act and when to stay still. They're guided, an inner guidance, and the great manifester. So you want to have a strong wizard, a strong warrior, and then there's the wise elder. The wise elder is the one that understands how we have destroyed this planet with money, how we are over-consuming the planet, how we have created separation from ourselves and others with money. And it holds a place of a new story of how we spend our money so that honors each other and the planet. And so those three are the pillars of a healthy relationship with money.
Amazing.
Oh, and then there's one more. There's the artist. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The artist is the one that thinks money is the root of all evil, and that they just kind of feel like money taints everything. It's not spiritual. It's not connected to people. And they'll often have a hard time putting a price tag on their work or their
yes,
things like that. So they've divorced themselves from the physical world, thinking the spiritual world is way better.
Yes. And this is kind of a personal question, but I know you had the voice that told you that this is what you needed to do, and you set forth on this quest and put in the time, the work, and you're still going and paving the way. But were you surprised with your own money journey, what you learned, like from the beginning to even now?
Oh, it's never ending. Yeah, like I confront it in many ways, but I really feel like it's shifted dynamically for me. So that's why I know this works kind of thing.
Yes.
But I, like you, was a fool. I was a huge fool. Like I invested money that, like, I've lost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars from doing something really ridiculous with money. And I took lots and lots of risks. I'm also a wizard in that regard. Like I can manifest really well, but it was still, it was imbalanced in a lot of ways. And then I go into that innocent where I'm like, I don't know anything, so it's like that. That like,
I'm laughing because I'm like, oh, I see myself in this scenario.
like I didn't learn from my mistakes. I don't know anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So for someone who say is brand new listening to this, where would you tell them to start?
Well, take the quiz, get to know where you are in your money archetype. And I, the, for me, like if you wanted to work with me or just doing it on your own and kind of figuring it out, there's two ways you can go about doing it. Most people always do it on their own because you don't want to spend money on learning about money. Right?
Yes.
And I think that's the thing that you have to face. Like once you invest money into really working on your relationship, you're invested. So you can't check out. You can't
Yes.
like run away because you're like, you put something in the game to work with this, because you can, it's really easy to check out of this in this game of money. And I would say one of the coolest things for a lot of my clients is to have a coach. Honestly, you cannot see yourself when you're in the picture. You can't see the frame when you're in the picture. And you've been doing this story with money your whole life, all the time. And self-awareness is one thing, with sitting in meditation and looking at your stuff and everything. But with money, we're swimming in this sea of how money is. So we have these
Yes.
assumptions of what's the right way and the wrong way of doing things that are based on faulty foundation. So it's almost like restructuring the entire thing and building from the bottom up.
Yeah. Wow. So there's working one-on-one, and what else can they find on your website?
Well, just to be really transparent with how I'm working right now, because my target is to make a very big impact on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
I have a very big vision. So right now I'm offering a 12-week intensive where we meet twice a week. You have the top financial literacy school in Canada is partnered with me. So you have every single element of financial literacy. And when you're done it, you're going to know more than anyone in your family or in your friends about finance. And you are held with me and 3 other coaches to move through building your systems, because really it is, when you have automatic, really sound money systems that support you, it makes so much more space and ease for you to save, to invest, to get out of debt, to really know what's happening. So it's not really a budget. I call it a money ecosystem. So
That's nice.
yeah, because
No, that's gentle.
yeah, and an ecosystem moves with how our lives move, right? It's not just budgeting here, because that's scarcity and it locks you down into things. And we're all so value-based. So you have to have your money related to your values. It's not just that's the way to do it. It's like you have to find a way that really aligns with you. So they're customized and built just for you. So it is more of a higher price ticket to work with me now, because I'm realizing that the people that really want to make the change will put the investment in.
Yes.
People that are just like, I have debt, I'm worried, and they don't really step in fully. It's like, okay, I can recommend a couple books for you to read. So get your feet wet reading these books and stuff like that. But more often than not, what happens, people do it, but it doesn't work. It doesn't stick. It doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's helpful, but I do think it's like important for you to learn your archetype. You can read a lot of my blogs. You can explore different books. A really great book is called Worry Free Money. It's it's a great book about money. And The Art of Money is another really great book. The Soul of Money is written by Lynn Twist, and she's my mentor. Well, she's my mentor that's doing work similar to what I am, not exactly. An incredible human being on this planet. So if you are environmentally conscious, she's really about socially just, environmentally sustainable, and joyful life. Like those are her 3 missions in the world, which really match mine as well.
Wow, that's so great. So any final words of wisdom or anything that you'd like to share?
For those of you that feel this desire to become a leader in the world, where you make impact and change in your kids' life, in your life, in your community, my words of wisdom is become a leader with your money first, because
Like
that's
I could cry. Like, yes.
because every time you spend your money, you vote for something.
Mm-hmm.
You vote for something that you may or may not even know what you're voting for. So when you're in charge, and if you're paying debt, you're paying banks an enormous amount of money that they're using it in ways that are not nurturing the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So getting in alignment of who holds your debt and understanding a way that you can create impact in every area of your money is a powerful way of leading. And we all need that, because I don't know how much longer we have on this planet the way we're going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. I
Oh my
so
God, I'm so
appreciate
glad
your
what you're
time.
doing. I'm so glad what you're doing. And thank you so much for being so open to my weepiness.
Oh, I love it. I love emotions. So like a lot. Yeah,
You're
thank you so
welcome.
much.